Paul, thank you very much. Yes, it did. I think it's a good day for the country. We've restored integrity to our borders. It's 12 months ago that Labor voted with the Greens to introduce the medevac law, which was only ever about a backdoor way into our country. Today, the Labor Party again voted with the Greens to try and stop us from abolishing the medevac law, but with the support of the independents, we're able to get this law through. So it does restore integrity, and I think it's a very good day, and we're very happy that we can stop people from coming to our country that potentially pose a threat to Australian citizens.
Minister, we read today that apparently it is 180 people who have come under this farce. What is the exact number of the people who have come through this back door? The
number's 184, but it's important to realise that we've got about 464 notifications, so that can be multiple notifications per person. But this had the potential to run much further than 184, and I think some of the advocates believed that we weren't going to get this bill supported through the Senate this week, and there were some spurious cases that were being put forward, and I think the numbers would have continued to roll. So I'm very pleased that we've been able to stop it. It has cost Australian taxpayers literally millions and millions of dollars, money that we could have spent drought-proofing rural areas, giving money to farmers, putting money into law and order or national security, and I think the Labor Party has really embarrassed themselves today.
What does this tell us when it comes to the difference, or whether a lesson's been learnt, between Bill Shorten, who put this law in place, and Anthony Albanese and many of his people who fought as hard as the Greens to keep it?
Well, I think it's a really good point, because a lot of people thought that Anthony Albanese would be different to Bill Shorten, but he's basically a carbon copy. At least Mr Shorten had, tried to pretend when they were in opposition that they supported our Operation Sovereign Borders and keeping our borders secure. Sure, he would have done something different had he been elected, but Anthony Albanese has given up that pretence, and the problem with the Labor Party is not just the leader, it's the many people on the far left who could either be sitting in the Labor Party at the moment or quite comfortably be in the Greens Party. And yet these are some people like Christina Keneally, who would be the National Security Minister in an Albanese government. It's not just in border protection, but every time we put forward a national security bill, the Labor Party, Mark Dreyfus and Christina Keneally try and water it down. So I just don't think they're fit to hold office. And if you're out in a regional area or anywhere in Australia really, and Anthony Albanese says he wants to listen to what you've got to say, speak away, but know that he's not listening to you, and what you're saying won't be heard, because the majority of Australians at the last election said that they supported strong border security policies. The government has implemented that, and Labor today has just again sided with the Greens in a complete and utter demonstration that they just don't get it when it comes to border security. And there's no doubt in my mind, if Mr Shorten had been elected as Prime Minister in May of last year, we would have had literally hundreds of people, if not thousands of people, on boats already on our shores. And I think we dodged a bullet, and I think the Australian people, frankly, in this area and many others, don't regret the decision they made in May.
Now, I have no doubt that there's a limit on how you can answer this for me, but let's talk about the deal, if there is one. Is this about how we process people on Manus and Nauru? What exactly is the communication with Jackie Lambie? What was she talking about when it comes to national security?
No, Paul, the Prime Minister's been very clear today, and that is that our policy hasn't changed. We're very clear about the fact that we want to get children off Manus and Nauru. We've done that. Labor put children there. Labor put women and family units there. And again, we've done our best to get all of the women off PNG, which has happened. And we've got a situation in Nauru where we're down to a small number of women. So we want to make sure that we get every person off. And I think, look, in the end, when we explained that to Jackie, I think she understood more clearly the position of the government. That is, that it's not in our interest to have people on Manus or Nauru. We want people off as much as Australians do. I don't want to see people there. I don't want the expense of it. But we've had to do it, and we've needed to do it in a way that doesn't restart boats, because we know at the moment in Sri Lanka, but elsewhere, we've got people smugglers who are trying to take money off innocent men, women and children to put them on those boats. So I think once we went through and explained in a classified briefing for Jackie, I think she got a better understanding of the depth of our efforts to get people off Manus and Nauru. We've now sent 654 people to the United States. Not one person went to a third country when Labor was in government, and they kept putting people on Manus and Nauru, and our job has been to get them off, and we want to continue that until we get it down to zero. And I also pay tribute to Pauline Hanson for her support, and Malcolm Roberts for his support of the bill in the Senate, and obviously the other independents, including Corey Bernardi. So we've been able to work effectively, and I think it's in the best interests of our country that we've been able to abolish Labor's backdoor way to get into Australia.
Well, Peter Dutton, it's been a painful process to watch, but no doubt more painful for you to have to live it. Strength to you and the government, because this is exactly what normal people demand. They want this government and the many before it, all the way back to John Howard in 2001, to have absolute control of the borders. So congratulations to you and your team for staying the course, fighting the good fight, and sanity prevailing.
Thanks very much, Paul. I really appreciate it. To you and to your listeners, thank you very much for pushing hard for what's a common sense outcome. And I do believe that it's the right decision in our country's interests, and full credit to the PM. And we've really been slogging away at this for a long time. I just don't want people here who have the potential to harm Australians. I want to keep our society, our country as safe as possible. And I really appreciate the support that you and your listeners have given to what is a common sense position. We've prevailed in the end, and it's a good outcome.